My name is Claire, I'm 36, and until today, I believed I understood my marriage. The light streamed through the window, casting a warm glow in the family room, a space once filled with laughter and fond memories. But that warmth began to feel like a distant memory, overshadowed by the revelation that was about to unravel my entire world. It started as any other mundane afternoon when I picked up my phone, intending to check a few messages while waiting for Jason to return from work. As I scrolled, something peculiar caught my eye, an email thread labeled "Important. Plans." My breath hitched, a genuine feeling of unease engulfing me. Curiosity urged me to tap it open, and there they were, Jason's words glimmering ominously on the screen. "Claire doesn't need to know yet. We'll take care of everything," he wrote, hidden in plain sight. The chill of his insensitivity seeped into my bones. Each line was a freezing gust of reality, revealing a meticulously crafted plan involving my own sister, Rebecca. They were orchestrating the sale of our home, removing me from the picture as if I were nothing but a mere afterthought. My fingers trembled as I read on, my heart slamming against my chest, echoing the despair growing within me. The betrayal hit hard, like a gut punch that knocked the wind out of me. I felt my eyes widen in disbelief. The warm glow of sunlight turned sharp, each ray stung with the intricate cruelty of their deceit. All those shared evenings spent planning our future, those intimate talks where I showcased my aspirations to revive my art career, only to have him dismiss them with a wave of his hand. "You'll have your time, Claire. Just support me now." Memories of making him breakfast, ensuring he left for work with his favorite coffee in hand, now twisted into a bitter reminder of my role. I had sacrificed everything for his ambitions, stifling my artistic passions and patiently waiting for the moment when my dreams would merge with his. Yet here I was, the very anchor of his life, treated like a mere shadow in his pursuit of wealth and ambition. The room felt claustrophobic as I battled emotions that swirled within me. I hadn't just lost my place in his life. I felt like I was losing my identity. I clutched the fabric of the couch, the rough texture grounding me as I struggled against the icy grip of humiliation. It wasn't just the betrayal of my husband that tore at me. It was the stinging realization that my sister too conspired against me. Rebecca, who I had adored, was wrapped in a veil of jealousy and greed, seeing my sacrifices as an opportunity for her own elevation. This double betrayal felt like a betrayal of self. The piercing thought echoed in my mind, drowning out the warmth I once associated with family. In that moment, I promised myself that my silence would not be my only response. I clenched my fists, steeling my resolve against the scorching humiliation that burned through my veins, a fire I would soon turn into purpose. I spent the next hours pacing the labyrinth of our house, each room a portrait of memories now tainted by this discovery. The glow of the dining room where we celebrated birthdays and holidays, the kitchen that held the essence of countless shared meals, felt like a prison with walls closing in. As the evening approached, I sat on the couch staring into the distance. The house that once felt like a haven now enveloped me in shadows, heavy with the weight of Jason's betrayal. I heard the familiar sound of his keys jingling as he entered, accompanied by Rebecca's laughter, a sound I had once cherished but now felt tainted. They slithered into the house, and I fought the wave of nausea threatening to rise. The casual conversation between them swirled around me like a storm, while I felt like an outsider on the precipice of discovery. At one moment he glanced at me, brows raising in surprise, clearly oblivious to the storm brewing within me. "What's wrong, Claire? You look pale." His voice dripped with feigned concern, and I glared at him, desperately suppressing the cocktail of emotions threatening to spill forth. I forced a smile, one that felt more like a mask than any expression of warmth. I could not unveil a single crack in my facade yet. No, I wouldn't let his betrayal overshadow my dignity. Not today. I'd become a spectator in my own life. But shadows can grow still, and mine was only just beginning to stir. With the bittersweet mantra echoing in my mind, he thought I was just a shadow in his life, but he forgot shadows can move. I knew this was not where my narrative ended. This was only the beginning, a turning point where I would reclaim my power piece by piece. As I breathed deeply, recognizing the firm ground beneath my feet, I began to plot a different course. I wouldn't be relegated to the background of Jason's grand narrative any longer. I would rise, ready to confront the betrayal with quiet strength and determined resolve. The hostility in those emails would not be the end of my story. It would be the catalyst that ignited the plot of my next chapter. The days unfurled in a haze of quiet misery. I found myself drifting through the familiar halls of our home, my home, where laughter had once danced like sunlight through the windows. Now, it felt more like a mausoleum filled with memories of warmth that had turned cold. My routine had shifted. I wasn't just going about the day-to-day anymore. I was constantly on guard, bracing myself against the weight of my own reality. I'd taken to sleeping on the worn-out couch in the family room, a choice I made on instinct more than logic. I needed space from Jason's indifference and Rebecca's invasive presence. Here, cocooned in the faded fabric, I replayed endless memories haunted by the echoes of my past devotion. I recalled when we first moved in together, how the smell of fresh paint mingled with the scent of my favorite jasmine candle, the promise of forever encapsulated in each brushstroke of color. I painted the kitchen seafoam green, a color that brought life and vibrance into our mornings. Jasmine Dreams, I had called it, a name that marked the beginning of our shared journey. But with each passing memory, I grew frustrated, a bitter reminder of what I had sacrificed. Each promotion Jason aspired to, each late night he claimed was necessary, chipped away at my own artistic aspirations. I thought of my canvases, the art that had once flowed with reckless abandon, now edged with dust and neglect, a reflection of my own muted spirit. The unsettling laughter from Jason and Rebecca floated through the house, but I was stuck in my silent exile. It felt as if they were taunting me, basking in the freedom I'd never permitted myself. Rebecca's sly remarks had always stung, but I brushed them aside, attributing them to her desire for attention. "What about your dreams, Claire?" she would chuckle, a flicker of envy shining in her eyes. "Surely, you're not planning to be just a housewife forever." I had folded under that pressure, convinced her words held no weight. Suddenly, one remark burrowed into my mind like an unwelcome pest. She had claimed that Jason was destined for greatness and that I should be grateful for the role I played in lifting him higher. Maybe she was right. My sacrifices were both an anchor and a shackle. I felt the walls closing in tighter around me, suffocating my hopes with every breath. Those thoughts drowned out the exhilaration I once found in our shared victories, times when he'd come home, bursting with excitement after a big meeting, and I always there to prop him up like a support beam in a crumbling building. "This is all for us," he would say, his eyes alight with ambition. I'd smile and nod, burying my own dreams deeper beneath the rubble of his. But that was then. With each hour spent on the couch, I could feel my resolve crystallizing. I had been an unwilling spectator long enough. I needed to rise from this exile. I needed to reclaim my narrative. One morning, after another sleepless night, I walked into the kitchen and reached for my paintbrushes and canvases, the forgotten relics of my identity. Dust danced off the surface as I meticulously pulled them from the corner. The raw scent of linseed oil greeted me, a buried memory of my vibrant past. I cradled a brush in my hand, longing to restore the colors that had dulled. I dipped it into paint, finding an imbalance between my sadness and a sapling of resilience that began to root itself in my chest. Yet, in the inhospitable silence of the house, the heaviness of betrayal lingered alongside the paint, thudding against my unsteady heart. Clarity washed over me amidst the chaos. I couldn't allow Jason and Rebecca to dictate the terms of my life and my narrative any longer. I had to escape this emotional prison. "Remember," I whispered to myself in the solitude of that early morning. He thought I was just a shadow in his life, but he forgot shadows can move. It was no longer a mere mantra, it became the foundation of my strategy. I envisioned the face of the woman I once was, vibrant and full of dreams. The shadow cast on the wall beside me flickered with understanding, urging me forward. I decided to gather my strength and carve my independence back into existence. I would woefully remain invisible in their eyes while quietly gathering the pieces to ensure my emergence would be unforgettable. I walked past the door to our bedroom, their laughter still pulsating through the air, and bypassed the temptation to join them, unwilling to play the part of the willing victim any longer. I needed to gather evidence, to understand the full scope of their betrayal, to prepare myself for the transformation brewing within. Sequestered in our home, I was no longer merely watching the betrayal unfold. I was rehearsing my own resurgence. Operating under the guise of a dutiful wife would allow me to float seamlessly through the currents of their deception while gathering the strength and knowledge needed to reclaim my identity. I found myself reflecting on ties tighter than family bonds, love, loyalty, and trust. I needed to pull those threads apart, gently unraveling the knots that had ensnared me for too long. Each night spent with a notebook, tracing my thoughts and intentions with an invisible ink, brought me a measure of peace. I began to plot my course, a plan that would challenge their notion that I was just a passive spectator in their narrative. And so, with purpose surging in me, I would rise from the ashes of my betrayal, ready to confront the truths lurking beneath the surface. My exile would become my secret weapon, and my transformation would soon begin. Each betrayal written in my mind would forge the path to my liberation. No longer would I fade into the shadows. I would emerge, painted in my own true colors. The days melted into one another, a blur of mundane routines overshadowed by brewing determination. I transformed our home into a stage for my silent investigation, gathering bits and pieces of evidence while I maintained the role of the dutiful wife. Each interaction with Jason felt like walking on a tightrope, balancing the subtlety of suspicion with my facade of acquiescence. One late afternoon, the sun slanted through the blinds, casting stripes of light across the living room floor. I had just finished tidying up, an intricate dance of domesticity, when I noticed the tablet on the kitchen counter that had long since been declared useless. Jason had proclaimed it broken and discarded it carelessly, leaving it forgotten like my own spiraling dreams. A flicker of curiosity sparked within me. I approached the tablet cautiously, the air thick with anticipation. It felt as if I were handling a ticking bomb. With hesitant fingers, I pressed the power button, and to my surprise, it flickered to life, displaying a login screen. My heart raced as I debated the ethics of crossing this line, yet something within pushed me forward, an instinct that vowed to conquer my fear and reclaim the truth that had been shrouded in deception. After a series of failed attempts, I managed to guess Jason's password, something predictable. The screen blinked open, revealing an array of emails. My breath caught in my throat, the weight of the moment heavy on my chest. I scrolled through countless messages, my heart pounding in rhythm with the revelations unfolding before me. It was there, in cold, hard text, that I discovered the depth of Jason and Rebecca's betrayal. He had been in constant communication with her about the house, their ambitious plans concealed beneath layers of affection and false promises. "We'll handle it, don't worry," Jason reassured Rebecca in one email. "She'll never see it coming." Each word pricked at the wound still festering within me, transforming my pain into a steel resolve. I read through his detailed lists of their plans, meticulously forming their facade of a happy couple to the world while manipulating my oblivious presence behind the scenes. Thoughts raced through my mind, swirling in a tempest of anger and hurt. I felt the very essence of my identity collapsing, only to be reignited by the clarity of the truth laid out on that screen. As I combed through the messages, I gripped the edges of the counter tightly, grounding myself against the knowledge threatening to engulf me. They had planned to sell our house, a space that had been the cradle of my dreams, the canvas for my love and support while I remained blissfully unaware. Images of our life together flashed through my mind. Quiet nights spent crafting dinners, the sound of laughter echoing in the halls, the feel of his embrace after a long day. The ache twisted more intensely within me as I recalled our shared promises, the vows exchanged amid fierce dedication. Clenching my fists, I reminded myself of my mantra. He thought I was just a shadow in his life, but he forgot shadows can move. This was not the end. This was the spark I needed, an invitation to rise, to transform my quiet pain into a powerful lesson in reclaiming my worth. With every email I read, I collected evidence, meticulously documenting their covert operations. I took screen captures, saved important threads, and began organizing the files into folders labeled proof. My kitchen, once a forgotten space of domestic routine, morphed into the command center of my burgeoning resistance. The intimacy of the interactions hidden within those emails felt so raw, so intimate, and it shook me to my core. Jason's contempt was laced between the lines, emphasizing how little he regarded my feelings. I swallowed hard, the betrayal coiling in my chest. But with every twist of the knife within me, I knew this knowledge would cradle my determination, fueling my desire for justice. And then something unexpected occurred. I stumbled upon a single email dated a week prior that changed the dynamics entirely. In it, Jason discussed final details about his impending promotion, but the threats he made about me were the most jarring. "She can be a problem if she finds out. We'll simply sell the house and move on." The words haunted me. They bore the weight of his disdain fully. Suddenly I was no longer just a housewife trapped in an unworthy position. I had unearthed the very weapon that would be my salvation. Distilled emotions solidified into clarity, sculpting a purpose within me. I examined a time lapse of my reflection in the screen, a woman shedding her shadowy confines to rise anew. I was ready to ignite the fire of my autonomy, a truth the world had denied me. In that moment, I realized I had the leverage to rewrite the narrative, to take back what was mine. Taking a deep breath, I ejected the tablet and set it aside, a smile creeping onto my lips amid the turmoil. My life was still a canvas, dirtied and stained but salvageable. I felt hope stir within the ashes of betrayal, the sensation sparking a warmth that propelled me toward action. I would gather my friends, those who knew me, who honored my dreams, and connect the scattered dots of evidence gathered. While Jason and Rebecca practiced their deception, I would prepare for my grand unveiling, armed with knowledge that would expose the truth without a hint of hesitation. No longer would I be the overlooked shadow. I was ready to step into the light, paintbrush in hand, and craft my destiny anew. As I prepped to embrace my next steps, I whispered into the stillness. He thought I was just a shadow in his life, but he forgot shadows can move. The truth would rise, and so would I. Every day felt like an intricate game of chess, where each move required careful thought and strategic planning. My confidence was buoyed by the knowledge I now held, a glowing ember igniting the flames of my resolve. I had engaged in the quiet investigation of my husband's clandestine actions, an effort fueled by the rage of betrayal and the longing for justice. In the weeks that followed, I meticulously entrenched myself in the world Jason had constructed, a facade adorned with charm and veneer. I kept my distance, pretending to remain blindly supportive, embracing the role he had crafted for me. I observed everything with keen eyes while my heart throbbed with a resilient purpose. Every gesture, every word exchanged between them became fodder for the narrative I would soon unravel. One evening, I settled into the soft light of my makeshift command center at the kitchen table, a place where I could document the mounting evidence. In front of me lay a notebook filled with notes, a tapestry of interconnected threads that painted a clear picture of deception. The emails remained perched within the depths of the tablet, my precious stash of truth, a hidden arsenal waiting to be unleashed. I began re-engaging with old friends, reaching out to those who had known me before I became Jason's shadow. I needed to reconnect with the vibrant woman I had stifled for so long. I reached out to Helen, a fellow artist who had often encouraged my pursuits before life took over. "Hey, Claire, it's been ages." Her enthusiastic voice lit up the phone, and I felt the spark of familiarity ignite something bright within myself. "I know, life got busy." "You know how it goes," I chuckled lightly, trying to disguise the strain in my voice. We agreed to meet, and as we sat in a quaint cafe the following week, the warmth of reconnection enveloped me. I leaned into her laughter, gaining strength in the shared memories, each story like a warm brushstroke, rejuvenating my dulled spirit. Over cups of coffee, my heart swelled as I revealed parts of my current situation, carefully omitting the most explosive details to gauge her response better. Helen's brow furrowed with concern, and she grasped my hand across the table, her eyes bright with empathy. "Claire, you deserve to be respected," she urged, her voice steady. "Whatever he's doing, you should confront it. You're stronger than you think." Her words acted as a balm on my raw wounds, reminding me that my dreams weren't extinguished. They simply needed reigniting. With each encounter, I found myself blooming forward, stretching beyond the confines of my secret prison. Days turned to weeks as I deepened my investigation. I would observe Jason's phone habits during our facades of normalcy, trivial conversations laced with tension. Each time he glanced at his phone with a flicker of nervousness, I jotted it down. I arranged meetings at strategic intervals, timing them when I anticipated he'd be distracted by work or engaged with Rebecca. During a particularly revealing weekend, Jason had forgotten his tiny silver key fob at home. I had initially contemplated returning it to him immediately, but a flicker of genius stirred in me. Instead, I pocketed it and turned my attention to his office. Slipping quietly into his chamber felt like entering a different universe. His desk, littered with papers and remnants of his corporate chaos, bore witness to a man caught in his own web of lies. The faint smell of coffee lingered, and my heart raced as I fumbled through the stacks of documents, searching for anything that could shed light on the schemes he had in store. As I rifled through carefully categorized folders, one document aroused my suspicion: a proposal for investment in a project pitched to the board, loosely tied to a seemingly innocuous home renovation. The innocuous title, Upgrade Proposal, barely concealed the greed that underpinned it. Home renovation or home sale, the choice, the subheading read. My heart sank at those words, mirroring the cruel truths that lingered like ghosts in my mind. I realized this was more than just a mere renovation. It was about manipulating our lives, erasing me from the equation he cultivated. Though the wind rustled outside, I felt a profound stillness, realizing this document was more than just a proposal. It was a lifeline. The request for budget approvals included estimates for the sale of our home, for him and Rebecca to step into a new life while leaving me behind. I could see my path unfold in the pages before me, videos and images, detours and lies, all leading to my grand illusion of stability. As I exited the office, I slid the document into my handbag, an anchor of evidence bolstering my pursuit of truth. Returning to my command center felt electric, propelled by revelations that thrust me deeper into action. A sense of empowerment flooded through me with every step I took. I began piecing together the strategy that would ignite the flames of my resurgence. Detailed plans of the artifacts I had collected, the web of deceit Jason and Rebecca had woven, dismantling any thread that could entwine me further in their narrative. The investigations nurtured a fire in my spirit, a belief I could transform my betrayal into strength. I recognized that every whisper of laughter echoing through the house could become a battle cry for my reclaiming of identity. And it was this newfound determination, underscored by the mantra resonating deep within me, that echoed with each quiet breath. He thought I was just a shadow in his life, but he forgot shadows can move. The stage was set for my emergence. The shadows would no longer remain my prison. I could feel the winds shifting in my favor, the choices becoming clearer with each evidence I gathered. My fight for justice had only just begun, and no one could erase what was mine. As I sat in the quiet of my kitchen that evening, surrounded by the meticulously collected evidence of Jason's betrayal, I felt a surge of adrenaline. This was more than a personal betrayal. It was a battle for my identity, a reclamation of everything I had lost. The realization of what he was planning with Rebecca, selling our home under the guise of renovation, ignited a fire in me. No longer could I remain the overlooked and undervalued spouse. Now I was a woman on a mission. I reached for my phone and dialed Helen's number. needing her encouragement and insight as I began to weave my plan into existence. When she answered, her warm voice enveloped me like a comforting blanket. I could almost feel her smile through the line. "Claire, it's so good to hear from you. How are you holding up?" "Better than I was," I replied, my voice firm. "I need your help to devise a strategy to confront Jason." We decided to meet at the cafe again. The familiar scent of roasted coffee and the soft buzz of voices created an environment conducive to our discussion. I arrived early, my heart fluttering in anticipation of sharing my findings. I pulled out my notes, reviewing everything I had amassed: emails, photos, the renovation proposal. Each piece was a testament to Jason's deceit. When Helen arrived, I dove straight in, sliding the proposal across the table. "He's planning to sell our home, Helen. This wasn't just about improvement. It's about starting fresh with Rebecca." My voice quavered but held water. Her eyes widened, taking in the proposal with disbelief. "This is big, Claire. You need to use this to your advantage." We brainstormed how to approach the confrontation. I needed to ensure that Jason didn't have a chance to deflect responsibility. Every weapon I could wield, my collected evidence, my newfound clarity, was pivotal to my plan. We agreed on developing a timeline of events, showcasing how every lie and deceit escalated into his ultimate plan. In the following days, I scheduled a consultation with a local family attorney, Lorraine, who came highly recommended. I felt a mix of nerves and resolve as I spoke with her over the phone, presenting the gravity of my situation. "I understand, Claire. You have a solid foundation for a case if you're ready to move forward. Let's review the documents you've gathered, especially regarding your marital finances," she said with confidence that reassured me. The meeting was illuminating. By the time I left Lorraine's office, I felt fortified, each piece of information I gathered serving as armor against the impending confrontation. The steps I needed to take were becoming clearer, and the gears of my justice plan began to turn with purpose. Equipped with new information, I set to work documenting every relevant financial detail: bank statements, property deeds, shared investments. Each document formed a crucial part of my restructuring of reality, revealing Jason's attempts to bury the truth alongside me. I felt as though I was piecing together a puzzle that was slowly revealing itself. I also started to plan the confrontation in earnest. The living room would be the battlefield. I imagined the moment Jason would step through the door, blissfully unaware of the storm that awaited him. The tension in the air would hang heavy, charged with our unspoken history. In the days leading to the confrontation, I practiced what I would say, first in front of the bathroom mirror, then in whispered words to myself as I washed dishes or prepared meals. "Jason, we need to talk. I know about the proposal," I rehearsed, focusing on the firmness in my tone. The night finally arrived when Jason would return from a late meeting. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting elongated shadows in the house, anxiety coursed through me. He was not aware that his world was about to fall apart. When he entered, the scent of his cologne wafted in, yet instead of comfort, it stirred my resolve. He barely acknowledged me, his focus locked onto his phone. "What's up?" His tone was dismissive, but I brushed it aside. "It's time we had a conversation," I said firmly, my heart pounding as I made the decision to take my stand. His demeanor shifted, irritation flashing in his eyes. "What about?" he asked, feigning indifference. "About you and Rebecca," I declared, sliding the proposal across the table, my hand steady and resolute. "I know everything, what you're planning." For a heartbeat, his eyes widened in disbelief as he processed my words. "This is absurd," he stammered, anger flickering in his expression. "No, it's not. I won't let you manipulate me any longer. This isn't just about us, it's about respect and honesty you chose to erase." I could feel my breathing settle into a rhythm, my words flowing with clarity as I gained momentum. He leaned back, defensiveness creeping in, but I was undeterred. I had every intention of reclaiming my narrative. "You tried to sell our home without even discussing it with me. You were making plans that left me out of the picture, Jason. That's unacceptable." The reality of my words settled like an uninvited guest between us, his anger, his disbelief, and the fear that coursed through the house. I stood tall, embodying strength I had hidden for too long. "I refuse to be a shadow in your life any longer," I proclaimed, my voice pitched with power. "You thought I wouldn't dare to challenge you, but you've underestimated me." In that charged moment, I took back my power, and the atmosphere shifted. I wouldn't allow Jason to hide behind the curtain of deception any longer. The silence hung heavily between us, infused with raw emotions. Jason's expression shifted, a cocktail of disbelief and irritation churning beneath the surface. He let out an incredulous laugh, but the bravado cracked against the weight of my steadfast gaze. "Are you really going to play this card?" he scoffed, crossing his arms defensively. "You have no idea what you're talking about, Claire." "Don't patronize me," I snapped, the contempt pooling in my stomach, surfacing as anger gave me strength. "I have everything documented, the proposal, your emails, the bits of conversations I overheard. I may have been quiet, but that doesn't mean I'm blind." His arrogance faltered for a brief moment, the confidence he wore so well beginning to fray at the edges. "It's a business decision, Claire. You wouldn't understand." As he spat, attempting to shrug off the gravity of my evidence, but I wouldn't allow his dismissal to deflate the tide of my impending justice. "A business decision at the expense of your family? You're choosing to erase a life we built together for a fantasy with Rebecca. That's not just unacceptable, it's cruel." He shifted his weight, and I saw the tension ripple through his body. For a fleeting second, guilt flashed in his eyes, soon smothered by the anger that had become so familiar between us. "You don't know her," he retorted, almost as if trying to convince himself. "We have something real." The venom in his statement twisted in my gut. "The only reality here is the betrayal you're choosing to wrap in false love. You think you can have both, that you can damage the life we built and walk away unscathed?" The coldness burgeoned in the corners of the room, the space we once shared bursting at the seams with the weight of unmet promises and shattered trust. "What was once love," I said quietly, "has been traded for something fleeting, something desperate." "Claire, this is ridiculous. You're blowing everything out of proportion," he countered, leaning against the wall as he attempted to regain control of the situation, but I saw through it. "Am I?" My voice sharpened as I took a step closer, now standing firmly within my power. "You stole not only my confidence, but also the life we built together. Now it's time to face the consequences. I won't let you manipulate this into some courtroom drama. You and your little friend think you can take me down?" "Think again," he barked, his bravado returning with a fury. The animosity simmering in the room echoed the emotions that had festered beneath the surface for so long. "You think I'm doing this for the thrill?" I responded, shaking my head. This isn't a game for me, Jason. I'm fighting for my dignity and for what I deserve. He rolled his eyes, the contempt spilling out like venom. You'll regret this. You think you're some kind of victim, but you're not. You always have been weak. Those words struck deep, a remnant of the long-held beliefs he had instilled in me over the years. But I felt the familiar spark of determination fight against the wave of hurt. No longer the weak woman he had taken for granted, I had learned to harness my pain into strength. You'll soon see how strong I can be, I said, refusing to let his words become my truth. You're not the only one who can play a game. I've been taking notes all along. The tension reached a critical point, and I prepared to reach the end of this confrontation, knowing I needed to establish my boundaries clearly. I'm enlisting help, Jason. I'm not walking away quietly. You'll face the consequences of your actions. Help? He laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the already charged atmosphere. Who will believe you? You're just a woman scorned, a shadow grasping at straws. Unfazed, I retorted. You underestimating me is about to become your downfall. I have an attorney, and I will fight for my rights. Everything we build together will be taken into account, and you will be held responsible for the pain you've caused me. Jason stepped back, eyes narrowing as he evaluated my resolve. The facade of control he'd kept for so long was slipping, revealing the flicker of uncertainty simmering beneath. You think you can just walk away with this? You don't know the lengths I can go to? He challenged, but now I could see the cracks in his foundation. I'm through with your intimidation tactics. I won't be silenced, nor will I be controlled any longer. You've underestimated me for the last time. My voice steadied as I punctuated my words with unyielding conviction. He gritted his teeth, the tension coiling tighter between us, and I held my ground, determined not to falter. Jason was not the man I thought he was. He was merely a facade, crumbling under the weight of his lies. I won't let you take everything I've worked for, he growled, resentment lacing his tone. I have every right to what is ours, I shot back, resurrecting the wise words of my attorney. Your deceit will not go unpunished. The air hung thickly as we locked eyes, a silent battle of wills transpiring in the tense moments stretching between us. The man who once vowed to love me now stood before me, diminished by his own deceit. This confrontation wasn't just about the betrayal, but also a declaration of my independence, the reclamation of my strength. I was not just a woman scorned, I was a woman awakening. As the adrenaline coursed through me, I knew this was merely the beginning. Our roles had irrevocably changed. Shadows no longer loomed around me. I was stepping into the light. The days following my confrontation with Jason were an intricate tapestry of emotions, relief, anxiety, determination. I felt as if I had walked through a tremendous storm and emerged on the other side, soaked yet unbroken. Each morning, I woke with the dawn, the sunlight streaming into my once familiar home, each ray a promise of new beginnings. The house pulsed with the remnants of our shared history, its familiar sounds, now a symphony of quiet strength rather than melancholy. The shuffling of papers, the faint hum of the coffee maker, it all reminded me of the routine I had clung to for so long. I had once poured my love and effort into this space. Now, it echoed back my resilience. With the support of Lorraine, I had filed for separation, the paperwork flipping our lives upside down. I could feel the thrum of life returning to my veins. I had secured my financial future, and for the first time in years, I allowed myself to dream. Would I turn that dream into a new home, an apartment with a view, or perhaps even a small garden where I could nurture flowers that whispered hope. I spent hours researching a new place, each listing strengthening the resolve that burgeoned within me. It was exhilarating to envision a fresh start, free from the shadows Jason had cast. I had yet to find the exact space that resonated with my heart, between the garden full of vibrant colors and the cozy interiors with sunlight spilling through windows. As I sifted through listings, I kept returning to one particular property, a quaint cottage with a stunning view of the hills beyond. It felt like the universe was nudging me, urging me to turn this new chapter. I could almost hear the laughter of friends echoing within its walls, the warmth of gatherings filled with love and unselfishness, the very opposites of what I had endured in my marriage. Meanwhile, Jason was dealing with the fallout of his choices. The rumors regarding his infidelity had started to ripple through our social circle. Friends who once stood steadfast in his corner began to distance themselves, their loyalty shifting like the leaves in autumn. My heart fluttered with bittersweet satisfaction. Justice was unfurling around me in ways I hadn't anticipated. Yet, one day I picked up the phone, dialed Helen, and shared my thoughts on the cottage. "It has to be mine, Claire," she encouraged, her enthusiasm infectious. "Let's go see it together." In that moment, I realized I was no longer tethered to Jason's dreams or plans. I was weaving my own tapestry, vibrant and full of potential. Armed with courage and newfound strength, I secured an appointment to tour the cottage. Stepping inside felt like stepping into my own rebirth. The sun flooded through large windows, illuminating the rustic wooden beams and charming nooks. I breathed in deeply, savoring the scent of fresh paint and possibilities. "This is it," I whispered to myself. The day we submitted the offer felt surreal. I could hardly believe that this life, my life, was coming together. Lorraine had joined me for the final walkthrough, and I could see her approval in her nods and bright smile. "It's perfect for you, somewhere to start fresh." I envisioned my future, a quiet breakfast nook filled with fresh flowers, a small garden where I would grow herbs and greens to enrich my culinary passions, and warmth reverberating in every corner of the space as I confidently embraced every day that unfolded. As the days turned into weeks, I began packing my things. I sorted memories, keeping the light ones and letting the dark go. Each box I sealed felt like a victory, a reminder that I was not merely leaving a marriage, but confiscating my life back. I dedicated afternoons to curating what mattered, from cherished photographs to crafted trinkets that reflected my former self, a self that had now become lighter, more defined. The day of the final signing loomed on the horizon, a celebration of the metamorphosis I had undertaken. As I walked out of the office with keys in hand, it was as if I could feel all the burdens of my past lift away. I stood still, looking at the key, its cold surface a radical symbol of a new beginning. The first night in my cottage welcomed me with open arms. I curled onto the sofa with a blanket, feeling utterly exhausted yet completely content. The walls had a heartbeat, and I could feel the promise of growth, belonging, and the thrill of a blank canvas awaited. I knew there would be bumps along the way, challenges to face, but I welcomed them. They would only serve to bolster the elegance of my journey. As the sun set outside, casting soft light across the room, I whispered to myself, "He thought I was just a shadow in his life, but he forgot shadows can move." The mantra flowed through me, vital and vibrant, resonating in every fiber of my being. I pulled out my journal, the pages eager for words of healing, new beginnings, and dreams yet to unfold. In that moment, I recognized the beauty of my resilience. I was no longer defined by another's betrayal. My identity was intricately woven into my own story of strength, courage, and unyielding hope. The shadows behind me were left just that, behind me. In their place rose a new life, bright and unafraid, ready to embrace every opportunity that lay ahead. This was my new beginning, my fresh chapter long overdue, and I was here for all of it. The weeks turned into comfortable routines, and my cottage began to feel like home. I filled it with plants, colors, and the scents of herbs wafting from the kitchen. Each item in its place, a reflection of my journey, a journey of rediscovery and reclaiming my autonomy. I found a local farmer's market that became a weekly tradition. The vibrant stalls brimmed with fresh vegetables, artisan bread, and handcrafted goods. I met the vendors, exchanged small talk, and savored each visit as a slice of community I had longed for. There was one stall in particular, run by an elderly woman named Edith, whose laughter was infectious. She was a fountain of local lore and offered an endless array of recipes, sharing pieces of her life and wisdom with the same passion that surrounded her produce. One Saturday afternoon, as I sifted through ripe tomatoes and fragrant basil, she confided, "Life doesn't always unfold as we imagine, dear, but those unexpected turns often bring the most beauty." Her words resonated deeply. I felt gratitude wash over me for the surprising joy that blossomed in contrast to the recent chaos. After several weeks of connection and camaraderie, our friendship blossomed. She invited me to join a community garden project that focused on beautifying a neglected neighborhood park. The thought of working with others to create something beautiful thrilled me, and I quickly said yes, my heart swelling with excitement. As autumn approached, I'd begun attending the garden meetings. They were filled with positive energy, goal setting, and laughter. Days spent virtually disconnected from my old life nurtured the roots of my new beginning. They drew me closer to a circle of like-minded individuals who, just like me, had faced their own storms and chosen resilience. Among the group was Anne, a former teacher with an artist's spirit. She had a wicked sense of humor and a knack for uplifting others, and together, we often found ourselves in fits of laughter as we shared stories from our pasts. "You see, Claire," she would say, "blooming after a drought is where true beauty lies." Her words echoed listening to Edith's wisdom. It seemed the universe was intent on teaching me lessons of strength through these connections. In the midst of our planting, digging, and nurturing, I discovered a sense of belonging I had yearned for, a space free from judgment and filled with hope. My confidence flourished, tending to the earth as it reminded me of nurturing my own heart, and with each new bloom I could feel my spirit taking flight. After weeks of hard work, the park revealed a transformation. Hand in hand with my newfound friends, we had turned the once dilapidated area into a vibrant hub of life, color, and laughter. The grand reopening was a community celebration filled with joy. Families, friends, and laughter spilled into every corner. During the celebration, I took a moment to reflect on the beauty that surrounded me. I was no longer defined by loss. Instead, I had become a source of inspiration, reclaiming my life while also uplifting others. I caught Edith's eye across the gathering, and she nodded knowingly, as if she understood the depth of my journey. Later, as the sun began to dip on the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the festivity, I stepped aside for a moment to soak it all in. My heart brimmed with gratitude for the winding path that had led me to this new life, one filled with laughter, friendship, and courage. That evening will forever be etched in my memory, my pulse matching the rhythm of life blooming around me. I was reminded that change can be beautiful if we allow ourselves to embrace it. As weeks turned to months, I continued to build my new life, the cottage evolving into a personal sanctuary filled with life, joy, and renewed hope. I filled my days with crafting new recipes, practicing gardening, and sketching the relationships blooming in my life. One quiet evening, while sitting at my kitchen table with a cup of chamomile tea, I realized that I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. The past no longer haunted me. It had become a tapestry of lessons stitched into the commitment I had made to myself. I was a woman reborn, unafraid to love, to share, and to forge new connections. And then, on a particularly quiet weekend, I received a text from Helen asking if I'd like to get together soon. It had been a while since we'd seen each other. With a smile inching across my face, I texted back, "Absolutely, let's get together this week. I want to share all the new things happening in my life." Our reunion was filled with laughter, updates, and a cacophony of emotions. In that moment, I told her about the garden, the friendships I nurtured, and the sense of peace I had finally found. "You've evolved beautifully, Claire," she said, her biggest smile spreading across her face. "I'm learning to embrace life with open arms," I replied, joy bubbling through me. "I've discovered strength I never knew I had." As the evening wrapped up with a tender hug, I felt the weight of the world lift even more. Reconnecting with my past friend forced no shadows of regret. Instead, it shone light on my journey forward. I walked home, beneath a sky that sparkled with the first stars of dusk. With every step, I was reminded that closure isn't an end. It's a chance to rewrite a story with courage. I no longer clung to the pain or the shadows. I embraced the future that awaited me, open and bright. The darkness of my past faded away, leaving room for love, laughter, and light. I had become the author of my life, and I could craft each chapter to resonate with each note of my heart's desire, a symphony of newfound freedom and unpreceded joy. This was not just a new life, it was the life I had always deserved. As autumn's crispness arrived, I felt a palpable shift in my spirit, one that reflected the vibrant leaves outside. My life had transformed into a radiant tapestry woven from joy and newfound purpose, with shadows from the past receding into mere echoes. One sunny Saturday, I decided to visit a local art fair, intrigued by the array of creativity on display. The park buzzed with energy, colorful stalls featuring artists and their works. I wandered through the booths, soaking in inspiration, each piece evoking stories that mirrored my own journey. At one booth, I was drawn to watercolor paintings capturing breathtaking landscapes. The colors sparkled, telling tales of resilience and beauty. As I admired them, a voice broke through my thoughts. "That one's my favorite," said a man beside me, his enthusiasm illuminating the space. "It's stunning," I replied, glancing at him. His name was Richard, a talented artist whose passion for his craft shone brightly. "It really captures the essence of change." We struck up a conversation, sharing stories and connecting over our experiences. I discovered Richard painted not just landscapes, but also the emotional landscapes of life. Every brushstroke carries a bit of our soul, he said, his eyes alight with creativity. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the fair, Richard invited me to an upcoming gallery show. "I'd love to see you there," he said, a hopeful smile on his face. Excitement stirred within me. "I'd love that," I replied, feeling a spark of connection that was both thrilling and unexpected. When the evening of the gallery arrived, I wore a soft blue sweater, a color that always brought me comfort. Walking into the space, I was enveloped by an air of creativity and enthusiasm. Richard spotted me and waved, his smile igniting a glow in my chest. We explored the gallery together, discussing art and life. I found myself opening up about my journey of recovery and rediscovery. Our conversations flowed effortlessly as I shared how much healing I'd experienced since moving to my cottage. "I truly enjoyed our time together," Richard said as the event wound down. "Can I take you out to dinner? I'd love to continue our conversation." The prospect excited me. "I'd love that." Dinner unfolded beautifully, filled with laughter and deep connection. We exchanged stories of our pasts, each moment stitching our lives together. Richard gained insights into my journey, while I marveled at his experiences as an artist. Weeks passed, and Richard became a consistent presence in my life. Our connection deepened, and we filled our days with shared laughter and warmth. Together we painted, walked through markets, and explored the outdoors. There was something refreshing about being with someone who understood both the art of living and the healing process. One chilly evening, after a day filled with inspiration, we returned to my cottage. I brewed us tea and we settled on the couch, a comfortable silence wrapping around us. I looked at Richard and felt sparks of something beautiful growing between us. "I feel like we're building a canvas together layer by layer," he said, breaking my reverie. His words resonated deeply. "Exactly. Each moment adds color and depth to our lives," I replied, my heart swelling with joy. With time, I realized that Richard painted not just on canvas, but on my heart. He helped me rediscover vulnerability in a way that felt exhilarating and safe. I was no longer a woman defined by my past or the betrayal I had endured. I was becoming a woman fully alive, creative, open, and willing to embrace love. As autumn transitioned into winter, I began to see our bond as a fresh chapter. One crisp evening, we walked through a park, the leaves crunching beneath our feet, each sound echoing the heartbeat of our growing connection. Richard paused, looking into my eyes. "You've changed my life, Claire. I feel like I've seen the world differently since we met. You've brightened my path." His words enveloped me in warmth. "I feel the same, Richard. You've rekindled a joy within me that I thought was lost forever." In that moment, I understood that embracing change had brought me this unexpected treasure, a profound connection that felt both exhilarating and reassuring. Together, we embraced our stories, letting the past fade into layers of color as we painted the future. As winter set in, we continued to explore life hand in hand, heart to heart, forging a bond that shimmered with love, laughter, and creativity. I had not only found myself again, I had found someone willing to walk alongside me in this journey of life. This love wasn't just a new beginning, it was the vibrant symphony of life I had always yearned for, one filled with warmth, possibilities, and the thrilling promise of tomorrow. The first snowfall blanketed our small town, transforming the landscape into a peaceful wonderland. I gazed outside, grateful for the warmth of my cottage and the joy Richard had brought into my life. Each day with him felt like a brushstroke on a canvas, vibrant and full of possibility. However, as I immersed myself in this new happiness, echoes of my past lingered in shadows. Though the feelings of betrayal had transformed from overwhelming burdens into distant memories, I knew I needed to confront them to move forward completely. Sensing my lingering turmoil, Richard suggested a weekend getaway to a mountain retreat. Just us and nature, he proposed, the excitement radiating from his smile. "I'd love that," I replied, the anticipation bubbling up within me. Arriving at the retreat, I felt the serenity embrace me. The warm cabin offered a cozy refuge where we spent our days hiking through snow-dusted trails, sharing laughter and stories. The connection we had forged was palpable, but that safety also brought forth buried thoughts. Was I fully free from the chains of my past? One evening, as we wrapped ourselves in blankets by the fire, Richard turned toward me, a serious expression crossing his face. "Claire, I want to open up about something." My heart fluttered, nerves prickling my skin. "Of course, what's on your mind?" He took a deep breath. "I lost my wife to illness a few years ago. It was a devastating time for me, and I've been hesitant to share, but I feel that our bond deserves complete honesty." I felt a weight in my chest lighten as I found common ground in his sadness. "I understand," I whispered. I went through my own unraveling. The betrayal nearly broke me. For a moment, we sat silently, the connection deepening as we recognized the pain that united us. Richard's vulnerability opened a window into his soul, and as I shared my story, it felt like a delicate exchange of trust. "Thank you for sharing this with me," I said softly. "I know it must be difficult, but I'm proud of you for facing it." "Honestly, it's your strength that inspires me," he replied. "You've brought light back into my life, and I want to keep moving forward." In that moment, I realized that our vulnerabilities were not weaknesses, but bonds that tied us closer together. As our winter getaway continued, I found myself retreating inward, grappled by lingering doubts. What if Richard's past haunted him more deeply? What if I was merely a transient brightness in his life? These fears nagged at me, whispering uncertainties about potential heartache. Determined to fortify our relationship while working through my own healing, I began a letter to my ex-husband. I wrote about the betrayal, the pain, and ultimately expressed forgiveness. The act of putting pen to paper felt therapeutic, a way to process the last remnants of hurt that persisted. As I sealed the envelope one evening in my cottage, I could almost feel the shadows lifting. I knew sending it would symbolize liberation, a final step towards severing the ties still binding my heart. The night I drove to the post office was one clouded with deep breaths and racing thoughts. Standing before the mailbox, I felt both liberated and nervous. I slid the envelope in, knowing that this choice would finalize my journey in confronting the past. Returning to my cottage, I felt a lightness I hadn't anticipated. Each step toward healing was powerful, and I was eager to share this revelation with Richard. Our relationship thrived on honesty and openness, and I wanted to celebrate the unearthing of my truth. "We've both faced our past," I said to him one night as we sat together sipping warm tea. "It's a testament to our strength and dedication to one another. We can let it go." Richard nodded thoughtfully. "Absolutely. Our past brought us to this moment, but the future is ours to paint together." His words echoed in my heart as we moved deeper into winter. Together, we continued to create new memories, allowing our lives to intertwine more deeply. I had not just found renewed joy, I had found a partner willing to explore every facet of this journey with me. Embracing hope and love, I realized this was not merely a new chapter, but a detailed painting of experiences waiting to unfold. With Richard by my side, I felt ready to explore the possibilities that lay ahead, rekindling colors I thought I'd never see again. As each day passed, the shadows of my past continued to retreat. The vibrant promise of tomorrow beckoned, threading through both of our stories with love serving as a brush that painted the landscape of our lives, rich, beautiful, and alive with untold adventures waiting beyond the horizon.